probably about 25 past 7. And you know how we always get started, a temperature check in the community. So let's kick that off. And Nate, I see your face, so I am tempted to start with you.
Temperature check is good. I think that's, I think that people are really excited about the upcoming vote, but I'm sorry, not excited, but confused about the upcoming hatch vote for the change in the parameters to allow the first vote to happen. That was the only thing that was on my list to make sure that we communicate about. Outside of that, I think everybody's seems pretty good for my temperature check. But yeah, I don't have much to contribute outside of that. I'll pass it to Livy.
Thanks. Every Wednesday there's a protest in front of my house, and today is so loud that the windows are shaking so much, like it sounds like it's gonna break. I'm also gonna stay just 30 minutes here for also going to the event to present the governance and temperature check. Yeah, I feel like things are moving in a good flow. There's a lot of momentum in Comunitas that I thought was really cool. And also the reward systems is amazing. So yeah, feeling good about those. And I'll pass to Mitch.
Thanks, Livy. Lots of work yesterday on the initial buy-in, reward system, commons configuration dashboard. I'm just like a lot of things going on all at once. But I'm happy to be here and sync up with the stewards and get any more updates that I need. And I hope that answers all the questions. I'll pass it to Chewy.
Thanks. Sorry, Sam. What are the questions again?
We're just doing the temperature check-in. So anything that you notice that you want to share personally in your working group, in the community, with everyone else in the stewards and.
Okay. Comms is going a little bit slower and aiming more towards the post-comments upgrade. But I feel that the comment swarm has been delivering a lot. So yeah, speaking about momentum, I feel that there's a pretty good one in the comment swarm. So yeah, still very excited for the comments upgrade. And I'll pass it back to you, Sam, because I don't know who went already.
I'll pass to the man who's jumping up and down.
Well, I'm just excited also for the comments forum because Seb and Paulo had a little hackathon that they were working on last week, so things were slowed down, but now they're back into it, and I'm just so happy to have the redundancy around our XDI DAO and feel confident with that choice because now we have two interfaces that we can use that are completely independent. If one goes down, then the other one is always up. There's nothing that they're depending on each other for, so that's just like a huge weight off my shoulders, and major props to Sam and Paula for making that happen. And the Prams is killing it. We had like a really good sync call on Tuesday and have most of the major issues identified. At this point, it's just like, you know, I feel like we have all the blockers identified. There's no blockers left that are going to come out of nowhere. It's just like putting the icing on the cake after they finish that next week. So I feel pretty good about launching the Prams and really starting that process, which is like the countdown to launch, you know, or it feels like it's the countdown to launch. Everything feels really good in my working groups is what I'd say. And it's also just really good to hang out with stewards in person last night. We hacked on the bonding curve stuff and came up with some fun numbers. Yeah, and I think as far as the community temperature check also, I feel like it's just on fire. Like so many new people all the time coming up. I feel like we have a lot of good credibility in this in the space. I will say Chewy's numbers on Twitter, or David's numbers, Zeptimus's numbers on Twitter were pretty poor this week though. So I would love it if we could spend a little bit of effort just ourselves retweeting the TE Commons and giving more mentions and likes and quote tweets and kicking up Twitter when, especially when we see a down week like last week. And I'll pass it to Santi.
Thank you, Griff. I feel that everything is sticking together. Perms looks great, although you guys have identified some major blockers, but I think overall the first impression I had when I went over the site was awesome. And at legal, we're going to be having our final terms and conditions for that bonding curve ready. I just was talking with Sean about the way we could fund whatever way I think that needs to be funded for legal once we launch. So comms is doing great. I think people is joining. I feel that everything is coming together, and probably launching farms is going to give us all the impression that we're getting there. So that's my point of view. I'll pass it to Eduardo.
Sorry, there's a lot of noise, so I cannot speak now. Sorry.
Okay, so we'll pass to Juanca.
Thanks, Tam. Yeah, I also feel that things are moving. Yesterday we did the 4th session of the Graviton training, so we are almost getting to the mid way of the Graviton training. And yeah, I like that we have had a lot of attendance, and also we are on chapter 3 starting tomorrow with the NBC book club. I find the book club very interesting, and yeah, I think that it's great how time passes so fast. And like some time ago I was saying like, yeah, we're gonna start the Graviton training, and now we are almost half. We have delivered a lot of POAPs, and it's at the same time very satisfying but challenging, because there's a lot of transition that we will have to in the next month. So yeah, I just want things to go with the flow, and if they are moving fast, so that we are also capable of adapting to that pace. And yeah, I feel that things are going good, but we don't have to like lose attention on the bigger picture because of being focusing on small issues. And I'll pass to Chuy. Did you go?
Yes, I did. I'll pass it back to you, Sam.
Yeah, Zeptimus?
Yeah, thanks, Tam. Yeah, I'm so excited about the Params parties being back. And that means, like as Griff said, like this seems like a countdown. And I'm also super excited, like Edu joined Transparency Call last this Monday, and he had the idea of doing some kind of analysis on the Discord and the forum, like, the type of engagement we have, and yeah, to see how community is doing, and it's going to be useful for communities. So yeah, I think that's a cool thing to do. And yeah, overall, like there is a good flow in the community, and yeah, things are moving, and this is exciting. I'll pass it to Metaverde.
Oh, yay. I'm doing super well. I am really happy to be actively attending meetings again and catching up with the different things. I did an article for Agave, and I really enjoyed doing that. And I've got Rohek Benitez coordinating with me doing like graphics for the articles. So I'm looking forward to finding opportunities to write. And I am really feeling super duper quadruple confident about my Solidity dev. I'm like seriously understanding like the dot notation for structs and all that stuff. Juanca, I'm really sorry I can't make the gravity. It conflicts with my jujitsu on both days, and it makes me sad. But not so sad that I'm stopping jujitsu. I'd be really fascinated to hear about the protests that Livy deals with every Wednesday. I think that's kind of interesting, but y'all know me, yay, woo. And I think that's my temperature. I got the link to the yoga flow this morning, so I already did that whole waking up for the morning, and that's why I'm good to go. And I have no idea who to pass it to, Tam, so I'll pass it back to you.
It's only me that's left, unless Eduardo, if you are free to speak now, feel free to jump in. Otherwise, we'll assume you're not free to speak yet.
Yes, I'm better to speak now. Thanks to the Lord. Temperature check. Yes, I'm feel excited. I feel like we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with the onboarding journey. Sorry for that sound. And then I don't know. I had this feeling, the same feeling that Griff had regarding visibility. I had it with people who arrived to the server, and one came from a podcast, Forefront podcast, and the other one came from a How to DAO course in DAO House. So it was nice to see that the community was being seen in other spaces that are not typically related to us. So yeah, I don't know. I feel that we are getting to a very nice place, and I'm looking forward to getting there. So back to you, Tim.
Cool. And I feel very similar to what everyone is feeling right now. Honestly, there's so much momentum. I mean, I look at our timeline and I'm like, oh, wow, we're going live with the dashboard soon. Oh, we're going to have the final parameters soon. Oh, fine. We're going to have the commons upgrade very soon. So there's a lot of excitement. I'm really becoming or have become deeply involved with Communitas now. And there's just a lot of excitement and a lot of people that are really passionate about communities and community building and onboarding experiences. So I feel like we have a really strong group of people in place to make some really impactful changes to be able to support a growing community in the way that we do with, the warmth and personal and caring touch. I just want to say, Eduardo, I feel like he's been killing it, on like just welcoming people. He and I drafted a Communitas funding this morning together. There's just a lot, and I feel like I see that about everyone. I feel like everyone is firing on all cylinders right now, and it's really exciting to be part of that with everyone. Okay, then, Craig, hey, would you like to share your temperature check?
Hi, Tim. Yeah, not much going on. Super busy and just looking to see what the heck all you crazy people are doing. I have had a small taste of Communitas. Hopefully, maybe going to engage there a little bit, and just trying to sort of keep track of all the stuff that's going on. But not a ton of engagement. And I'm probably last, so back to you, Tim.
Yeah. All right, cool. So public service announcement, have you checked your GitHub notifications? If you click on this link, you will have to sign in. Okay, so I'm going to just skip that. But this is where we tag each other to let us know when we need help with something. Okay, cool. And like I said, Communitas, so working group funding. Eduardo and I drafted the one for Communitas. In the Stewards Council agenda is the list for all of them. If anyone is curious to go through them, the labs is still in progress. I talked with YGG today. He actually has 3 proposals on the forum. Well, 2.5. The semester one he's counting as a proposal, but I think that one in the labs funding will go together. And once we have the proposal template down, I think he can just use that to do the funding one to revisit the other version. So I don't want to take too much time with this, but it's essentially really raw thinking about Communitas. So the same thing, assuming the reward system outcomes are indeterminate at this time, thinking that the compensation from the working group will probably be the primary compensation. And then because Communitas is all about being in the know in the TEC, I don't necessarily see that there are going to be many tasks in Communitas that can be short tasks. There might be special projects, but I would think the compensated roles in Communitas would be at least 20 hours a week. This is all really rough thinking. I'm just going to share that now, and it will evolve. So the working group will support community building, onboarding, outreach to new communities, DAO-to-DAO relationship building, and token holder relations. So special projects for special things for token holders, building relationships with token holders, and keeping them informed. I think that's maybe a fourth of these four services, the fourth priority of these four services. So there's an incentive mechanism we came up with is a weekly compensation. So it's just a weekly rate. The compensation would actually be monthly, but the rate would be per week and using 19 DAI an hour. So we're looking at something like 10 people in the Communitas working group. Something like these roles: a steward, a coordination lead, community manager, welcomers, buddies, TEC scouts, DAO-to-DAO, communications and strategy, something like this. It can shift. And the idea would be the monthly would be about 18K and the 3-month projection would be about 54K. There's a lot of space for this to go into something else. We don't have specific people yet, but we will have specific people, obviously, before the proposal goes live. I don't think I want to go around. I don't think it's worth our time to go around and ask everyone what their opinion is. But if there is anyone that feels like they really want to jump in and have some comments, please do.
What would a project manager for Communitas look like?
So it is this role. It's this, right? It's a working group coordination lead. So some of our working groups are led by stewards, and there is some working groups that have so much work that there might be a PM working with the steward, and that PM would be responsible for like the Scrum events, transversal coordination with other working groups, and all of that. So that's what that would look like.
Excellent. And then would thank you.
No problem. And we can really delve into this more in the Communitas call. But anyone else want to share any ideas or thoughts before we move on? Okay, cool. And Santi, maybe you want to take a minute and present the legal working group funding?
I'm so sorry, I was on mute. When is the Communitas call?
Monday night, 8 p.m. CET.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Tam. Yeah, I was discussing with Sean a little bit the idea that I initially had about having some amount. The way I see legal once we launch is more a reaction than anything else. But we gotta be prepared in the event we jump into any legal issue with an external party. So my idea is to have some funding, not too much, but some funding, so we can react quickly in the event we need to. And so have like 10K according to market price. According to Sean, it's about 20 hours of a legal advisor, and that should be enough considering that we've built almost everything we needed before launching. And those funds would be there just in the event we need to jump quickly into any conflict. And they should be, hosted on a working group DAO or something like that with multi-sig or several people deciding on those funds. And in the event that we need additional funding for whatever conflict that arises, we would just put a new proposal requesting for that funding. Besides that, there may be a little bit running cost on someone leading the group that I cannot think of right now, but that could be considered. So that's what we added there.
I was going to ask, do we have any type of consensus regarding custody of these funds? Like how we're going to manage it from working group to working group?
You're asking general or you're asking me?
Both, yeah.
Well, my idea is to have some funds, not too much, but enough to, stop or quickly react into a fire, and from the legal perspective, and not having to go through the process of posting a proposal, voting it, and funding it. And that's what those 10K are for. And of course, the decision of using those funds should be taken from whoever is in charge of the DAO managing those funds, which could be people from legal or who have been involved in legal, plus other stewards and contributors that may want to join. But at the end of the day, it should be something fast, much faster than putting a proposal, voting it, passing it, and getting funds. Besides that, any additional need, I think we have enough time to go through a proposal. And this is just prevention. We have no clue what can happen, but I just would love to be able to react fast in the event we need to. If we don't, we'll just put a proposal and go through the regular process and probably just keep those 10K over there in the event we need them in the future.
Cool. Welcome, Lauren.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Quick other question. So no, I was just gonna say, safe with very clear holders, I think is fine for something like this. Funds are just gonna be held. It might be an added benefit if they were held in TEC tokens instead of XDAI. Be interesting.
Whatever. I just posted XDAI because together with Sean, we were thinking on market price, and he mentioned $500 per hour, and we thought that 20 hours should be enough. But whatever we decide. I mean, I have no special feeling on using XDAI or TC or whatever it's. But all I think is that we should have a small amount, enough to react quickly, and if that goes externally to someone external, the quicker we can convert those into something that we can use to pay an external service, the better. But of course, if it's on the bonding curve and we have TC, we can convert those. So no problem on that.
And here's where I'm jumping, guys. So I'm going to pass to Nate.
Thank you, Tam. Good luck. Have fun.
Thanks, Tam.
Hi, Tam.
Share screen. Okay. So, let's see. We got proposal for voting app rights to mint and burn. So this is something that I wanted to bring up because there was a lot of confusion about why there was another app or another vote proposed to the actual Hatch DAO. And so I was wondering if we need to do better communication on this, or if we should, I don't know, something with comms. Maybe Chewy has an idea about getting this out. Maybe I can include it within the weekly update, or does it need to be mentioned at all? I just want to bring that topic up.
Sorry, Nate. I was away from the keyboard. This is this is regarding the vote for mint and burn.
For mint and burn, yep.
Okay, let me check because David wasn't here this week and we didn't have the usual Twitter thing. but I'm gonna quickly check if this is planned, and if not, I'll take care of it.
Can I check 1 second?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh wait, it's posted.
Actually, like Ivy made a tweet, but I think like this, like the thing is like we had a technical issue, and yeah, Sam tried to solve it as fast as possible, and yeah, I feel like it's not Com's fault. Like they didn't have time to react. Like it was not like planned. So like Sam say like, okay, this is this technical issue. We're going to solve it. We choose both, and because actually the real proposal was the previous one to mint unborn tokens. But the thing is, we don't have rights to mint unborn tokens, which is just a technical issue. We're just giving those permissions, and yeah, I don't think it's Com's fault.
Yeah. I guess my big question is it something that we should be highlighting right now, or should we just say, this is just part of the process for the first proposal and move forward?
I like that opinion. Honestly, from my perspective, it's a little embarrassing, right? We have the permissions to grant the DAO permissions to mint and burn. We just didn't. So it's like, it's really a technical, it's sort of embarrassing. It's not something I'd be like, hey, guess what, guys, we're dumb and we need to make a second vote. But, since we've already reached the threshold, and I mean, I would say, hey, it'd be great if everyone took a second to go vote on it. Or did it already pass?
Yeah.
I think it opened yesterday.
Yeah.
It might have already passed. Yeah.
It passed already.
Yeah. So, but it would still be good to just get like everyone to vote, and then so it's not even, so it's just like a landslide victory, at least us. And I think it's worth, of course, mentioning in the community call.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah, because it's kind of those lines of like transparency, but also like, hey, this is kind of not something we want to highlight necessarily, because it's just kind of a slip up in the design. But moving forward from that, we have our spotlight for tomorrow, which is going to be Sentry, a eco-friendly project. So that's exciting. But the spotlight brings up a new conversation to be had about the community call. Now, I posted on the forum. I know a lot of you may have saw it. Many of you commented on it. And after talking with Tam and a bunch of other people and reading those comments, one of my proposed solution for this was to, what was that? My proposed solution for this was to actually take a hiatus away from the TEC spotlight. I know this may be kind of against what some of you may think or want, but I do think it's the best move at the moment. The biggest concern there was just having respect for the projects that, some of these projects are, this is their baby. This is something that they've worked very hard on, and to give them 15 minutes to try to explain something complicated, maybe even for the first time, is kind of a disservice. So what I was hoping to do was come up with ideas for the spotlight especially after the Commons upgrade. So the next two community calls will end with a spotlight. And then we're going to take a hiatus and try to maintain the praise system that we have right now, where everybody can praise as much as they'd like, and explore working groups a little bit more in depth. And so that's the idea right now. And if we need to adjust again, we will keep iterating on it. But the spotlight, I plan on seeing maybe 2 or 3 spotlights at once. Just have like a monthly event or a 3-week event where proposals that have been submitted to the TEC for conviction voting will be able to present their projects to the community and have better engagement overall. So those are my thoughts on it, and that's my proposed solution for it. And so if anybody has any objections or thoughts on it, feel free to speak now.
I really like the idea of one praise, and it seems in the forum at least like people was not against. Why was the reason of this decision?
Yeah, so that's still an option, but I wanted to take the spotlight out first and see how we did and see how it worked. I would love to just have one super praise and have everybody be very specific, but then I also don't want to limit anybody. we're going to naturally come up against that time barrier as more people join and more praise needs to be given, and we may have to go back to that one praise rule. And I do think it's a really good idea, and I think we should go with it. But I wanted to do that iteratively and make sure that to see how it works without the spotlight. Because if we can have 15-20 minutes of praise where everybody gets to verbally do this, I think that's beneficial for the community and the culture. And then having extra time for the working groups is great as well. So I just wanted to see how it fits with this extra 15 minutes for praise and working group exploration before we start minimizing how much you can praise. But yeah, I do see that becoming an issue later on, and we may move to that one praise a person thing.
Yeah, thanks, Nate.
I would say that I agree with that decision, mainly because I feel the spotlight becomes less than a spotlight after time passes by. So it becomes more of a just another working group kind of thing. And I think if out of respect to the communities and out of respect of the time and so on, it will be, the right call will be to have a separate time for it. And I think it will allows the community call also to breathe a little bit more, because now it feels rushed, it feels pressured, it feels like there's always like a running time ticking, and it doesn't feel, there is not this feeling of empathy and peace that sometimes we have in this call get lost in the community call. And people who arrived out for the first time can get the feeling of a rushing community, and we are not anything close to that in certain levels. So that's my feedback on that.
I agree with most of your points of view, Nate, and what Eduardo mentioned. We sometimes seem like we are in a rush, and that's not it. But on the other side, I think the weekly community call is when we have the most audience, and having a spotlight then is probably the best moment. I know that sometimes it's kind of sad to see, the short amount of time that these guys have to explain their project. But I would think, whatever we end up doing, I think it's the best moment, it's the best meeting to showcase their project. And what we should tell them probably is that this is an elevator pitch. It's a 5-minute pitch. And after that, we may provide them, another place, another moment to, go over deeply into the project. But at least those that join, the meeting will be able to know that their project exists, and then they will, be invited to join a deeper discussion of the project with maybe an hour somewhere, some other time. I think it's good to at least showcase, present, mention those projects during that meeting, because it's when everyone is there.
Yeah, as long as their expectations are that it's more of a lightning talk than like a presentation at a conference, then I feel like where would they complain if you tell them, hey, you only get 5 minutes, do you want to do it or not? And they say, I can't do it in 5 minutes. Okay, cool. But that being said, I'm down for the experiment. I really don't like the one praise idea personally. I see praise as a way to give updates, and if we use, it's a way for every individual who doesn't run a working group to actually participate and say what's going on in the TEC, and do it with this lens of gratitude. So I feel like that serves the update, like that's what the community call is all about, like what's going on in the community, and praise is the way to get it.
Anybody else?
Yes. I think there's an issue with praise taking too long, though. Like, I can see the points about it's really nice to have, but there's some formatting in there that we lose a lot of time on, like people not knowing how to praise or like awkwardly passing it. So I think there's a way that we could do that better that would save us a lot of time.
One thing that we used to do in Giveth was that the person's first call, they wouldn't get to participate. It's just like, oh, it's your first community call. Next call, you'll get to praise, or something like that. And we could, and then, and then people who have the hang of it would be able to do it.
I think Mitch also mentioned something. Yeah, jump quick. Yeah, mention something like go in order. Like for example, like in this call, the first one should be Nate, Chui, Craig, Edu. So if we keep an order, we do not lose time between. And it's to be more efficient. And who comes? I would say like if someone joins, if now Acid Laser joins, he should be on top one. But we already are on Lauren. We just keep him because he's late. Something like that I would do.
Yeah, I think Mitch's idea for going straight down the left-hand side of the Discord channel is a really good idea in terms of just minimizing confusion and minimizing that transition time between praises.
Yeah, like the time that you would save of just like being able to predictably know when you're going to talk and not getting caught off guard, like I think that'll save a lot of time. And just the facilitator being able to keep things moving instead of waiting for someone to pass.
Yeah, for sure. And I think those changes can be made in the moment as we're doing it. And so just keeping an eye on it. So I mean, I guess, Griff, if you want to set the tone like you usually do, and just try to, incorporate that into the community call, I think is a good idea. But let's move on to the next topic, which is sharing working group news for the biweekly blog post. This is something that I've been diving into, trying to figure out what the best way is to, outside of the community call, to share working group news with the community. And trying to take this new direction with Medium where we're getting a little bit more, we want to have a little bit more kind of heavier content, kind of more serious content, deeper dives into things, rather than kind of this, surface, here's this, what's happening here. And so if you have any ideas on that, that's something that we're also going to be exploring in the next week. And if you're also looking to write, Meta, is that something you'd be interested in? Nope.
You can't hear me say hold on, of course.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, excuse me, I have hiccups. I am definitely
Nice.
interested in writing. Which working group do I need to contact?
This will be a part of comms, but this is kind of the part of the Stewards initiative where we're trying to make sure that we update each other. We traditionally had a weekly blog post, and then it became bi-weekly. And we're kind of trying to reimagine what the medium is going to be used for and how we can better update the community on the activities that are happening.
So on my short list, and I may hiccup again, is excuse me, getting it like deep dives into different DAOs and how they're unique, and also different philosophical issues with the DAO space, like autonomy and governance and that kind of thing. I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Yeah, I was thinking more like the different projects and initiatives that we have going on. For example, the comms DAO is going through, comms is going through a DAO process, like they want to incorporate the DAO. Gravity is going through gravity training, what the intentions behind that are. We can look at TEC Labs and the inverter proposal inverter, excuse me.
Yeah, that's
just things like that.
Into DAOs, exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
But I don't know if anybody else has any ideas as well about working group updates, because it's a very important thing to make sure that we get across to our community the different activities that are going through the working groups. And sometimes we can't fit it within our community call, and we're looking for different ideas on the ways to approach that.
I mean, I feel like the slides could be used as a definitive source of truth or canonical updates, and if your updates aren't in the slides, then and then the medium, the bi-weekly post could just be pulling from the sides, maybe.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Or do you mean every other week or twice a week?
Every other week, sorry. But yeah, the one thing is we're trying to minimize is because Suga had a really hard time with it, and as well as trying to just get the details of each of these updates, and being kind of, comprehensive about it. And it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy and people to commit themselves to actually writing these things. And so it's difficult, but it's also like something we want to think about in terms of, is there any other possible way to, reimagine this, or do we want to keep with the same process right now? Because we're going to go with the update for I think the next couple months, and we're going to talk about it. And if there's any ideas that the community members have, or you guys as stewards have, that can improve this process about sharing all of the many different activities you have going on in comms and gravity and legal and all these different areas, that we need to figure out a way to better communicate that to the general public, then please let me know and update this document if you can. But I will say, if anybody has any thoughts on it, I'd say do it now. So
I know a lot of people, myself included, super appreciate the monthly updates at One Hive. They could be more often, but as you said, it's really a challenge to collect all that information. I mean, I can't commit to doing an update on every single working group every 2 weeks. I mean, I could try.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
it's one of those things that,
lot.
yeah, it may need to be a collaborative effort. Maybe somebody within the working group volunteer to create their own update that we can combine at the end, or, but yeah, I mean, right now I don't mind doing it. I'm good with doing it, but it's just I wanted to examine it from a fresh perspective and see if anybody had any ideas of better methods or vehicles for this type of communication.
How much time does it take you to do it?
It takes a good 6 hours, I guess, if I'm like trying to gather all the information, and that's me knowing where things are. But
so is the information's published, it just needs coordinated into a single document for like public ease?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But I just wanted to highlight that. But we'll move on from that as well. If anybody has any last minute comments, let me know. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so tomorrow we have our retrospective, and our sprint planning is on Friday. Get excited! I'm really excited about the retrospective for this week, because I just think this was a good sprint. It's a really fun sprint, and so make sure that you get prepared for that. And sprint planning on Friday, go through your ZenHub issues and make sure that they're all updated as much as possible. And if you have anything to update, yeah, just please go through your GitHub as the PSA was earlier. And so now we're going to do our sprint board check-in. So let me pull up ZenHub real quick. All right, how do we want to go here? Let's see. Who wants to start it off? Let's do comms and Chewy. How about that?
Can I have some extra minutes?
Absolutely, you can. Let's go with gravity. How about you, Anka? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on my side, we are making progress in the NBC book club. We are going to start the third chapter of the book. I really have found it really interesting, and we promoted it yesterday during the Graviton training. So I hope more people is joining. It's very interesting to read this book, because I have been studying a little bit of NBC, but it's always better to read from the source. On the Gravity Gitcoin grant for round 12, we are almost at the 100 followers, and I started to move the registry to the ZenHub repo, but I haven't finished it. I hope to finish it maybe today or tomorrow before the sprint planning. To have the registry in the ZenHub repo, and I feel like yeah, we are going to continue the Graviton trainings, and I feel that maybe I need more help to or to schedule one session to talk about the long-term gravity roadmap, because yeah, there are a lot of like loose ends that I would like to have advice process on. And yeah, I am syncing with Tam on that to see when can we sync and have a call to talk about the funding proposal and also about this long-term strategy.
All right, sounds good. How about common swarm and parameters? Go through.
Yeah, for parameters, we're doing QA. There's a big task of doing QA on the GitHub issue. I don't think it's ready. I'm going to try to do a first draft of a novel GitHub issue, but I would definitely be open if anyone wants to support that work to review the actual voting issue so that it makes sense. Right now, it's still. I don't think it's ready for anyone today, but that will be a task that someone could take on. Other than that, Common Swarm, we're just pushing for the demo release. What's blocking us is getting the. Our first task is getting the smart contracts. They're already been audited and reviewed, but we need to implement the changes. So that's the main task this week. And then once those changes have been implemented, get the UI working for the front end of the convert page. And then the other blocker for actually launching a demo that everyone can play with is making the Gardens UI work with XDAI in the common pool. It works with if TEC tokens were in the common pool, everything would work, but using wrapped XDAI in the common pool is a different. We just have to make a few tweaks. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. But those are the two blockers for the demo. It definitely won't happen tomorrow. It probably won't happen next week either, honestly. But the week after that, we think we can get the demo up. And params, I'm thinking about throwing a param party this Friday. I want to see how they do today, how the params team does today. But we'll probably have another param party on Friday. But I'm waiting to see what gets done today and tomorrow. I'll announce it tomorrow at the Thursday party. But for sure, next week at some point, we will be starting I'm pretty confident that everything will be ready to start the param parties. The only last thing that we could use some external support from is just reviewing the GitHub issue next week, like that people are proposing, and making sure that things make sense in it to people who are not working deep in the parameters all the time. I'll throw it back to you, Nate.
All right. Yeah. And so let's go to Communitas. Eduardo, are you okay with going over? Do you have any updates? Needs of help?
He's not here.
Oh, is Eduardo not here? Okay. We will move past. What about you, Chuy, communications?
Sorry, Nate.
It's okay.
Am I the last one?
New, but close. I can keep moving forward. How about legal with Santi?
Yeah, we've been focused on the terms and conditions for the bonding curve, and we hopefully gonna be ending that this Friday. So I will be able to update it for next spring planning. And I also created the funding for the funding proposal for the working group. So we are basically focused on that, and we shouldn't have any issue closing those two issues by the end of the planning.
All right. Thank you. How about Omega? I know Sebnem is here. Did you have any updates for Omega Group that you wanted to talk about?
Hello, finally I make it to this hour. I was busy catching up how you all do it basically, but from Omega, so we have these sessions getting started and the contents are clear, like how token engineers or communities participating in token economies can think about ethical dilemmas, issues that might come up. I see some connections to Graviton or Gravity Group for sure. But right now it's more about getting those sessions in a way, first internal within the group, that we have the next couple of working groups, the sessions, and then test them whether and how we can present those, for example, decision-making frameworks or synthesis thereof, so that it's helpful for token engineers, and then basically make a learning module potentially out of it. And that is something I think then we could really put in a sprint planning, because it's then really concrete and lots mostly doing. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to join and see how and when we should get more active also here.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
listening and learning.
Yeah, thank you. It's always good to hear from Omega. I want to. I know that SoftGov Livia is not here, as well as TAM. So SoftGov and Stewards. I don't know if anybody has any comments on those. If you do, I'll give you this moment to talk about it.
I could just say, at least for one of the stewards / softgov things, is the bonding curve, like buy-in, the initial buy-in, which has a tight deadline. Mitch, do you want to say anything on that? I think it's worth giving an update.
Yeah, sure. Is there any feedback on this mic?
A little bit.
Okay, let me just plug in for a sec so we can deal with that.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys can get me now. Sorry, my Discord's been funny today.
A+.
Okay. Cool. So Griff and I and Lauren had a hack session. On this, we ran some numbers, and it actually turned out between 200K and 300K that 250K seemed to be the most reasonable number for an initial buy-in. I don't know what our time's like, if you guys want to see the sheet. Otherwise, I can post it in the Stewards channel, and you can see all the numbers that we ran and how the reserve ratio turned out, what the commons tribute would be, the reserve balance, and all those fun numbers. But 250K seems like the best number for this buy-in. Any questions?
I can just give a quick, what we did is we kind of tried to pick the lowest price that someone would choose and the lowest amount and the highest price that someone could reasonably choose, and then we picked the lowest amount that people would put into the bonding curve, and which would mean the highest amount they'd put in the common pool. And we also made an estimate what the highest amount they'd put into the bonding curve would be, which would be the lowest amount they'd put in the conviction voting pool. So we found the extremes at every turn that we could, and plotted some points in the middle, and just kind of compared what would happen if the initial buy was 200K, 250K, 300K, and it does look like the middle way seems pretty good. But he'll show you this spreadsheet that we put together, and you can see for yourself.
Is there any way we can turn that into a forum post of some kind to evaluate it?
Oh yeah. Well, I think
see applications.
Zepti and Tam and myself are going to be working on a formal proposal for this buy-in, but That's the hard number crunch that we did just last night regarding this.
Awesome. And is there any like, because I assume that there's like boundaries and different dynamics at each one, and is there anything like too concerning if you're going too high versus going way too low?
Well, you can see in the spreadsheet, like it will take some time to explain everything, but relative to the reserve ratio and the slippage from the buy-in are kind of the big deciding factors, I think.
Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to that update and looking into that. That's really cool. Thank you for doing that, because that's was a big thing hanging over our head for a while.
Yeah, Griff's a wizard, so that's really helpful.
Yeah. Praise. I want to give these last 3 minutes to Chewy, if you're ready. If there's anything
Thank you, Nate.
comms needs, give it to us.
There is some progress in the deep DAO listing, the DAO dashboard, which is issue number 11. I posted a document that we are working on for not just only listing TEC, but also be able to list gardens as a new platform, so we can be listed under gardens. And sorry, I can't see your screen. Well, that's issue number 11. And also in progress, we have issue number 969, which is some design that SoftGov needed. And did you leave, Nate? Oh no, wait, you're still here. Sorry. And then on issue number 910, which is also TEC token listing, Septi and I haven't really been able to contact CoinGecko, so we were thinking about reaching out to someone that already has established contact for listings, because yeah, we might need some help with that.
I have some kind of update, like maybe Griff, it would be a nice input. Like the thing is, like a prerequisite on CoinGecko is to be listed on an exchange that they recognize, and if our token ends up being transferable, and that means we are going to be on Honeyswap, and Honeyswap is one of those exchanges they accept, then yeah, that's it. But the thing is, like, if we are not transferable, like we are we're really trying to contact CoinGecko, and even we try on Discord, on Telegram, but there is, I don't know, I'm not getting answered by anyone. And yeah, it's like if we are not, like, if we don't get their prerequisites, it's like I'm like, we're stuck. Like, I don't know if we should help or.
But I mean, if we're non-transferable, we just won't make it on CoinGecko, and that's okay. But are we? Honeyswap is an exchange they recognize.
Yeah.
Then that'll work.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
I would
I'm posting that update.
If we're non-transferable, just don't worry about CoinGecko. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, but yeah, it's another call.
Okay, and I'm updating this issue, and there are some issues like for Manu that he has assigned, but I wanted to ask you if because one of these was the weekly updates, but it's something that he hasn't been able to jump in yet. So
yeah, I am taking. Yeah, I'm taking over the weekly update. So for the moment, and if anybody's interested in taking it, that's great. But if not, I'm currently taking that responsibility on. But we are at the top.
I'll try to get someone from the creative onboarding. However, since most people don't have a lot of experience, it might take them some weeks to get the context of some updates from working groups.
Okay.
And what else? I'm also have a reply pending on the Discord automatic call announcements, just to checking with Vibe if these are updated. And I think the only one so far that would need to be updated would be Omega. They went back to weekly updates instead of bi-weekly. And yes, these are some of the updates. And the TC Discord icon with the animation is something that Acid Laser is doing, but he's gonna be away for some days because of the hurricane in Mazatlan. So yeah, hopefully he gets some electricity back in the following days, and that's something that he already had some advances on.
All right. Well, then we are past the top of the hour, so I just want to say thank you, and I apologize for the timing. Yeah. Anything else, let me know. If not, we'll end the call, and everybody have a good rest of the day and week, and see you at Sprint Retrospective tomorrow. Be there or be square.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.